shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no segregation turn me around, turn me around. Oh, liberty, let our rejoicing rise high as the
But they used to call it the old colored plot. And it was renamed the African American Burial Ground. That said a lot. And every year the kids come out and clean it up and get it ready for us. Because tonight we're going to do something different. Because it's not all about just the ones laying here dead. It's about the ones who's here trying to keep us alive. Trying to make sure we remain in people's minds. Because people can forget things easy. So let me tell you about Moses just for a moment. And let me tell you something, I got a marker over there. They put the marker down in 2009, even though I died in 1909. Okay? Because all of a sudden they dusted me off and they decided to honor me. And what an honor it is to be here and to be a part of this. But let me tell you what I did. When I got here, and I got an opportunity to do something. Somebody saw something in me and said, Moses, you're somebody and you're going to do something. And what I did was I said, I'm with you. And all of a sudden, my life took off. And I became something special. Every morning I woke them up, them old young guys at Union, I woke them up, told them, get up, because you got an education to get. Because I came from a land where they didn't even allow me to read or write. And you don't know how precious that is, to be able to have something that you can say, I know something. Because somebody wants to make you believe you can't even learn nothing. Why you gotta stop and why you gotta make it happen for yourself? And I'm talking because we got some young kids up in here. And sometimes these young kids don't even understand what's really going on. Because I watch them from the grave. They get scared and spooked out. They don't know how to handle it. But I'm here to let them know that it's important. Them being here is important. This is holy ground. We honor it. It's hallowed. Wasn't only hallowed.
We understand that from the beginning. African people, the first people on this planet from Africa, spread civilization in the spirit of oneness. What we'll do is this cup is the Kikuome Cha Moni, the unity cup. Tambiko is pouring of the spirits to our ancestors. And we do the Tamshi La Tambiko, which is the libation statement. We say Ashe. Everybody say Ashe.
Ashe.
Okay, so be it. We're saying that
Your little time.
praise to our ancestors.
Ashe.
Annie Jones.
Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Theo Simpkins.
Ashe. William Hyman. Ashe. 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 Say it all. Ashe.
Marcus Garvey. And the workshop dealt with something of Schenectady. That's all I saw on the thing, Schenectady. And I said, well, let me go and see what's that all about. And I wasn't sure. But that's where I discovered myself, Moses Viney. And when I heard that there was this Moses Viney, a runaway slave, buried in Vale Cemetery in the old colored plot, I said, oh, wait a minute. We're going to do something about that right now. Okay? I didn't want to start no trouble in the workshop. I was getting well. I want to speak to somebody here. So they sent me to Dr. McAvoy, and so we got busy, okay? But I'll tell you this. When you talk about preservation of history, you can't talk about it without talking about what this area meant. This area right here is now a national site on the Underground Railroad Trail. Hello! That says a lot. Okay? But I'll tell you who has been preserving, who's been keeping the history, who has been recognizing what it was all about. I'm in the room. Paul and Mary Lynn.
Yeah!
All right, do it. Come on up. That we have to honor each other. We have to hold each other high. There's so much going down in this world. We're at the turn of the 21st century, and I'm not going to talk much longer. But I have to say this. We're at the turn of the 21st century. In Harlem, they used to have a woman called Queen Mother. We don't know where this woman is. Okay? And this is why we have to deal with Queen Mickey. Okay? Queen Mickey. Because that's what she is. She's a reincarnate of a great Egyptian something or other. And I don't know what, and it don't matter. But we got to honor her. They talk about Tutankhamun. Shit. We got Mickey Khan. Okay? There you go, Mickey. Thank you.
Well, thank you,
Whoever.
Moses and Walter
Okay.
and everyone else for this award. I really appreciate it. I want to say that I'm very thankful that the tradition that we started with Juneteenth so long ago continues. And earlier this month, Don Hyman organized the Juneteenth in Albany. And I said, you know, I'm beginning to feel a little bit like Johnny Appleseed with little Juneteenths popping up all over the place. And I realized that even though I was sad that Schenectady didn't have the Juneteenth like we used to have, that to see all these little Juneteenths popping up all over the place was a wonderful thing. It meant that people got it and they understood. And when we first started Juneteenth, nobody knew what it was in this area. And the reporters would say, well, what's Juneteenth? And people we invited would ask the same question. And we learned ourselves in the process. And so that's the beautiful thing about tradition. I also want to say that listening to your descriptions of the various people who have gotten awards makes it so clear what a wonderful network exists and how people connect to each other and how through all of these connections we can make such wonderful things happen. And I may be gone from my previous position, but I think it's like the gestation to see what happens next. I have tasks that I'm working on right now. Many of you know I'm taking care of my mom and dad. but it's also a time of looking inside and seeing, okay, so I think I'm on my 4th adulthood, so I have to see what the 5th adulthood is going to bring, what that will be like. But thank you for this, and bless all of you.
Slaves who, in the town of Colony, were discovered, the remains were discovered through a community project. And the love and the coming together of community there this evening and tomorrow at St. Agnes Cemetery, the diversity that was expressing itself as one reminds us that there is this continual churning and stretching and learning of who we are as a people. There's no denying there was gross injustice that came by the way of slavery, where a people was held back. Their voices were suppressed, if not suffocated, and that their rights were not honored. The beauty of our history is that we can, most importantly, we honor the fact that within this nation, we have the potential that has often been embraced to turn injustice around. We learned from very painful lessons that was to be the case, that was the essential need out there. When we think of us as a compilation of journeys, where many people chose to come here to escape suppression of their human rights, where there were those who fled in fear from situations, and where there were those who were held in bondage against their free will that were brought here. It is a compilation again of journeys that finds us
for what
here.
they did to bring us to where we are today. I'm also here to honor Jared Jackson and other men of color who served in the Civil War, the Union ranks, because the Union forces was losing the war to the South. We end up in March 1862. There was a bill passed on the President Abraham Lincoln calling for him to end slavery in all federal jurisdictions. That was Washington, D.C. and Florida. In April, President Lincoln began to call together different groups to get input because his primary concern was the preservation of the Union at all costs. He called in representatives from the South and offered to them their ability to keep their slaves if they would come back into the Union. They declined. And they declined because they said, we're winning the war. So then he called in representatives from the black community, including up here, Schenectady, Troy, and Albany, and had a sit down with them and try to convince them to leave the United States.
Good evening. My name is Sean Anthony Sundown. Nice to meet you all. I represent the 26th USCT, United States Colored Troops who fought during the Civil War, started in 1864. I'm part of the Underground Railroad History Project. I'm a young abolitionist. And let me just give you a few reasons as to why a day like this would exhilarate a soldier of the past, or any of the warriors who fought for the freedoms that we have today. There were 175 regiments of black soldiers. There were 178,000 accounted for. And that went beyond just those regiments. Each family was a regiment. And each woman and child who marched with their father or husband or brother was more than just a soldier. They were all warriors. All right? Today, we celebrate our emancipation from slavery. We celebrate the end of slavery across this nation. And that would have meant more to than just soldiers of the Civil War. Over 5,000 men fought for their freedom in the Revolutionary War. And even though their families fought with them, their families marched with them. This day would have meant the world to them, and it should to us as well. Now, the mind of a soldier is ever weary. He's always looking for further victories every day, and we should as well. Each step we take should be in that path. We should keep that march on with us as we live. And so celebrations like today should be joyous. Though there were those who died, we still celebrate, we still speak their name, and we still remember them well. And we should always keep that going. This fight does not end with our grandparents, or parents, myself, my children, or their grandchildren. It keeps going. And we must keep fighting on and seeking future victories. So, I guess it's kind of short, but that's what a day like this means to me.
Last year,
I want to thank you very much.
when I was here, that's what had just happened. So let's not forget them. Thank you. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the folks in Florida, all the folks in Florida. My heart and soul to all of them. I thank this brother over here very much for bringing in that knowledge and wisdom and background. And it was refreshing my mind because I took one of his courses at the Underground Railroad and it sort of put my perspective into perspective about who we are, what we did as far as the Civil War goes. So I'm going to recap a little bit today and you're going to help me. We're going to do the ABCs of the Juneteenth news, which is what I usually do, and bring Frederick Douglass in as one of my topics. But I want you to say when I point to you, during the war. Ready? Shall we try? 1, 2, 3.
During the war.
All right already. I like this. Okay, Frederick Douglass. I'm not doing him in costume. I did it 1,000 times. Tonight I'm doing Frederick Douglass under the Juneteenth news catalog and connect the burial, the soldiers, and what this brother talked about. It's going to all come together tonight. Thank you, Moses.
Go right ahead.
Okay, with your permission. Frederick Douglass was the most powerful black man in America during the Civil War. There were no elections, but his book and what he has done as far as an abolitionist brought him to that status. He was allowed to have a conference with President Lincoln, and one of the things that he did was he went to Lincoln to protest the problems that the colored soldiers that he had been recruiting to race to fight for their freedom and to fight for the Union be treated equally. If you saw the movie Glory, you remember when Denzel Washington and all the soldiers were going, tear it up, tear it up, tear it up, because they wanted the equal pay. So Douglass asked Lincoln for the equal pay. They were supposed to get that. Second thing he wanted was merit a promotion to those soldiers who deserve it. They don't all want to be privates. Where's Julia at? Lieutenant over there, Major. They want to get promoted. They want bars and stars because they're working hard. That's how you do it in the field. Remember when Morgan Freeman got promoted in the movie Glory? Well, Frederick Douglass was campaigning for that. The other problem was if black soldiers were caught, they were what? They would be killed or sold back into slavery? Well, Frederick Douglass arranged it so that they were treated as prisoners of war. Okay? And Lincoln was saying something to the terms of, you're going to do this to our Union soldiers, whether they're black or white, we'll do the same thing to 10 of your Confederate soldiers. So those were some of the things that Frederick Douglass fought for the colored soldiers. Okay. Not only that, 3 of his sons served in the 54th Massachusetts they talked about. So he had a family connection to make all of that happen. But remember, between 1861 and 1865, that wasn't the end of the story. 1, 2, 3. What did I say you got to do?
During the war.
During the war.
During the war.
In Charleston, South Carolina, there was, the last year, you know about this, a racetrack that was set up as an outdoor prison. And they kept black soldiers there. And remember, it's an outdoor prison. So when he talked about 200,000 soldiers, black soldiers serving, 40,000, we talk about a certain number of them, excuse me, a certain number of them died in battle, about 10,000. But the majority of them in that death group died from infection and disease and exposure. Remember, modern medicine as we know it today really begins around the Civil War. Okay? When you get break a leg or you get a cut today or whatever, or hurt, the main thing that will kill you would be the infection. So we have all these antibiotics and things that we didn't have in those days. So that took a lot of people out from their wounds getting infected, so on and so forth. How many nurses or medicine people in here? Anyway, there was a mass grave dug and they were all thrown in there, no name. The only things, they all were black. After the war was over, and I'm going to go back to this. Today when we lined up, thank you, who did you have in the front of the line?
Children.
When they had this dedication, 28 black men in South Carolina went in to that racetrack and dug up those soldiers, and they reinterred them, dug a fence around them. I'm thinking about the same spirit when these students came out here to do what they had to do. They not only reinterred them, but then on May 1st, 1865, they had a march with not one, not two, not three, but 10,000 people marched to the racetrack. And what they did was they had, are you ready for this? 3,000 school children, this is what the New York Tribune reports, 3,000 school children carrying arms of roses to put on the graves of those black soldiers that were being reinterred. Behind them were a lot of thousands of black women carrying what? Flowers and wreaths to put on the graves. Behind them, some black men from that area marching, and then those different units that this brother talked about marching behind them. After they made their procession into the racetrack and went around them, they put a sign up that was called Martyrs of the Race Course. After the ceremony, excuse me, what we now call Memorial Day is attributed back to that first ceremony on May 1st, 1865. Every year when Memorial Day comes by, everybody wants to have picnics. Nobody knows why we really have it. But it's really African Americans after the Civil War that start what we know as Memorial Day, which was then called what? Decoration Day. Okay? So, during, 1, 2, 3, I got to point to you again. Ready?
During the war.
Last but not least, I'm going to bring it home. Come on up here, Moses. During the war, Union soldiers took over part of North Carolina. And in that area that they took over, there were 10,000 slaves living. When they escaped, they came to this area that was the military zone, and they stayed with the soldiers. And after the soldiers left, they stayed there, and they formed what was called Freedom Hill. On Freedom Hill, they stay there, and what happens is this. They form their own stores, businesses, schools, colleges, cemeteries, and it becomes the colored cemetery for what's going to become the first and oldest black town in the United States. That black town will be named Princeville after Turner Prince, who's one of the original settlers there. He's a carpenter. What happens, that first black town is by 1885, they're the first black town, but all of these people, the African Americans, that community, are buried there. And what happens is, in 1999, anybody read the newspaper? Those same ex-slaves who came with the Union soldiers, their graves, they're covered in water for 2 weeks on a flood. And a lot of those bodies are what? They rise up. So they have a team that comes in that has to collect them. And when they reinterred them, they had to call people from that community to identify them by what they were wearing. They took pictures and everything. And that was a big thing for them to do. One of the people that they put back there was a young man that was a cousin of mine. His last name happened to be Hyman, like mine. But he was put there with other Hymans, like William Hyman, my great-grandfather, and his father, my great-great-grandfather, Levi Hyman, who was born in Princeville, the town that's the oldest town in America that blacks started. He was born in 1866, the first one that was born free. So, if you go to that grave site there, you'll find my legacy and my family there. So, tomorrow when we have to go and put those people back in the ground and inter them, I no longer find cemeteries, thanks to what Walter and some other people are doing, as places to go just for sadness. But they now to me are more like museums of our history, because they keep our legacy there and intact. So for some strange reason this weekend, I'm losing my voice because there's so much going on. Okay, baby, I'll be back. I'm like the Terminator, okay? The Hymenator will be back. So we have to look at, it's a Civil War theme, but altogether, when you look at it, it's more of a community celebrating their legacy and coming back to their roots and bringing it all together, but not just a few individuals. We have school children, we have churches, we have schools, all the
9. Okay? And we're here in 2016. What does that tell us? We can do it. We can do it. Now, I'd love for Westoria Poole, my deacon that I love, to come up and lead us with this little light of mine as we close it down. And remember, afterwards, they're preparing us for an ice cream social. So we're going to have some nice stuff to eat. Okay? Come on up.
Center, Community Fathers, of course, headed by Brother Walter Simpkins and Brother William Rivas. Here to recite something from Frederick Douglass. Pay close attention. It's titled, No Progress Without Struggle.
Louder.
No, I'll read it.
Okay.
Come closer.
Come closer.
Come closer. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. Show the exact amount of injustice the people will tolerate, and it will continue until it's resisted with words, or with blows, or with both. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by those whom they terrorize. And I say again, the limits of tyrants are prescribed by those whom they terrorize. Frederick Douglass, 1849.
There are different types of celebrations, not just a parade or music or food, but it's been spread out through the weekend. There's different types of celebrations of Juneteenth. It's called the Juneteenth King Fest. So if you happen to be in Harlem, I did say Harlem, not Harvard. There is a difference, a big difference, you know. You can check some of those things out. Now, believe it or not, when it started back in 1865, Reverend Jack Yates, who was a slave himself, was living in Houston, and his church got together to raise the money to buy the land, which became Emancipation Park, which is still there today. And they hold Juneteenth celebrations. That's important that we know that the first Juneteenth celebration in Houston, Texas, they still have it, that the people bought the land for the park for the specific purpose of having a Juneteenth celebration. Okay, that's very important. Now, as you look around the nation, this weekend, it seems to certain things are pretty wide about the Juneteenth. They're having the, you ready? I love Chinatown, Juneteenth on the Block Festival. Okay, so you can get pineapple and collard greens. In San Francisco, there's a 3-day festival and with parades and concerts and speakers, similar to what we do. In Harlem, as I said, there's the Juneteenth King, and they call it the Juneteenth King Festival, something to do with Martin Luther King. At the African Burial Ground, which is similar to what we're doing, they're having a celebration on June 19th, okay? In Denver, Colorado, there's a Juneteenth Music Festival. In Richmond, Virginia, you ready? You really want to get funky? The mothership has landed. George Clinton and P-Funk are going to bring in some freedom. Hey! We're going to land, y'all. Okay. So now, here's where the audience gets involved. What's your name, sir? Kevin. Watch this. It's not in the United States, but it's in part of the world. Where do you think, this is a little game, this Juneteenth festival is taking place? Just pick a country in the world. Ready? They're going to have fried chicken, corn on the cob, potato salad, peach cobbler, ribs, baked beans. I'm going to this one. What do you think it might be? Ireland. Ireland. Anybody else want to guess, Betty? I said in the world, baby. Young man. Amsterdam. Okay, sorry. You got to go to the Far East. This is being held in South Korea. Okay.
Let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Play with their kids, their wives, even though they didn't even want us to have them, and got them and brought them back. And every year they have this big celebration to bring the family together. That's why we out here tonight. We the families. We the family of the families. And we're here to say we got to make it real for them. Now, I'm going to ask Kareem Hassan to come on up, because he got the voice. Okay. So come on up, Kareem. Thank you. This is a surprise for him, okay? Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to say just real quick that, as Walter said, the Emancipation Proclamation was January 1st of 1863. And as he said, the slaves, it really was all over Chile, like 2.5 years.
And I waited till everybody got over to the ice cream table where they're at now, so I could talk personally to Moses and Bonnie.
Hello.
Now, Bonnie.
Yes.
You know $1,000 back in those days was worth about $100,000.
It was a good thing I wasn't drinking then, okay? Yeah, okay.
I also heard that
Yes.
when you left all of your land and everything to what today is Prosper's.
No, Salvation Army.
The Salvation Army.
Salvation Army,
The
yeah,
land under
yeah,
the air.
yeah.
And most people don't know that.
That's right. That's right. In fact, gave them the first lot when they came up to Schenectady, because I used to like to hear them sing spirituals on the porch.
Right, but you lived over in that area.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And
I was a homeowner.
A homeowner, okay.
Oh, I was a landowner.
Okay.
Me, an ex-slave.
Can I hit you for a couple of dollars?
Not tonight.
How about some ice cream?
Not today.
How about some ice cream?
Go on and get this.
We're out of here. Albany Tempo Spectrum.
Peace
and
love.
chicken grease. Okay, great. Hi, I'm Donald Solomon Harris from Albany Tempo Spectrum.
Oh, listen.
And my show's on Channel 18. Look at
Hey!
the camera. Hi. Okay. And so I love that we were talking about Juneteenth.
Okay, because I'm not a grill man.
And I was when I found out I was here by so last year, which was kind of interesting. But generally what happens is
And that's the way you got to do it.
it's starting to spread, like in the schools and so on. And the thing I like about it most is yeah. So we like to
okay.
be going for office pretty soon.
Yes, sir. Running for family court presently. Spent 19 years in the family court. I've been representing children in the family court for a decade, and now I'm actually been appointed by the appellate division to be on the panel that oversees and guides children lawyers.
And you know, I'm trying to ease it down.
Yes, sir. 19 years.
And you went to
I went to Syracuse University College of Law. Went to Boston College undergrad. Went to Bishop Gibbons here in Schenectady. Yep. Hey, and I'm in the Hall of Fame at Bishop Gibbons because I've been working with the students there on their mock trial team, which is state known. They go to the championships. They've been 6 times in my 16 years. So good crowd, real good crowd there, and just nice to be around the youth. You know, they got an energy.
We wish you all the best.
Sir, pleasure to meet you.
And I look forward to meeting you. Thank you for being on Albany Tempo Spectrum.
Congratulations on your award.
Peace and chicken grease.
shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Found their families that had been sold into slavery, their kids, their wives, even though they didn't even want us to have them, and got them and brought them back. And every year, they have this big celebration to bring the family together. That's why we out here tonight. We the family.
Celebration of Juneteenth. It's called the Juneteenth King Fest. So if you happen to be in Harlem, this
Our Union College, Chester Arthur, the things there's just so much history, but if we don't chronicle it, it'll be changed, it'll be diluted throughout the years. So, you know, continue, keep me in your
Their
prayers.
name, and we still remember them well. And we should always keep that going. This fight does not end with our grandparents, our parents, myself, my children, or their grandchildren. It keeps going. And we must keep fighting.
they want to get promoted. They want bars and stars because they're working hard. That's how you do it in the field. Remember when Morgan Freeman got promoted in the movie Glory? Well, Frederick Douglass was campaigning for that. The other problem was if black soldiers were caught, they were what? They would be killed or sold back into slavery? Well, Frederick Douglass arranged it so that they were treated as prisoners of war. Okay, and Lincoln was saying something to the terms of, you're going to do this to our Union soldiers, whether they're black or white, we'll do the same thing to 10 of your Confederate soldiers. So those were some of the things that Frederick Douglass fought for the colored soldiers.
The amount of injustice that people will tolerate, and it will continue until it's resisted with words, or with blows, or with both. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by those whom they terrorize. And I say again, the limits of tyrants are prescribed by those whom they terrorize. Frederick Douglass, 1849.
We're going to find out if it really is. This is Donald Soulman from Albany Temple Spectre, and I waited till everybody got up to the ice cream table where they're at now, so I could talk personally to Moses Viney.
Hello?
Now, Viney. Yes. You know $1,000 back in those days was worth about $100,000.
It was a good thing I wasn't drinking then, okay? Yeah, okay.
I also heard that when you left all of your land and everything to what?
Ashe.
Annie Jones.
Ashe. 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 Theo Simpkins. Ashe.
William Hyman.
Ashe. 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 Say it all. Ashe. Marcus Garvey. Ashe. Ashe. Because I watch them from the grave. They get scared and spooked out. They don't know how to handle it. But I'm here to let them know that it's important. Them being here is important. This is holy ground. We honor it. It's hallowed. Wasn't only hallowed,
Let it shine, let it shine.